Hi, everyone. I'm Sherry Nelson out of British Columbia, and I'm honored to introduce to you Rocky Kramer, hailing from Norway, but a gift to us in North America. He has a new album out that everyone must listen to. Everyone, please welcome to Brian Sebastian's Movie Reviews for the legendary, soon-to-be Rock and Roll Hall of Famer, Rocky Kramer.
You're much too kind.
Well, Rocky, how'd you like that intro? That was pretty good.
I enjoyed it quite a bit. Very nice.
And then, Rocky, we have Terri Marie. Terri's out of Redondo Beach. She's one
Hello,
of our
everyone. I'm joining a little late today, but glad to be here. How is everybody doing?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Just trying to stay healthy in this crazy world right now.
Yep. I actually used to live in very close to Redondo Beach. So.
Oh, really? Were you in Palos Verdes or Hermosa or?
It was technically Torrance, but it was very close to Redondo.
Okay, well, I live right off of Torrance Beach, so I'm like on the border of Torrance and Redondo. Yeah, love this area. It's a great place to live.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Rocky, when did you know you wanted to be a musician? And who influenced you? And the reason I ask, because one of the best concerts I ever saw was Queen. Till this day, Queen was my number one. And obviously you have something that you guys have done, but that's why I'm asking.
Did you actually see Queen in concert? Because I'm sure that was amazing.
Hell yeah, I saw Queen.
Oh.
One of the best concerts, it's the best concert I've ever seen in my entire life.
Oh, I'm so jealous, Brian, that you were able to see them. That was one of my all-time favorites. I would have died to see that.
Now, I don't want to make you sound, I don't want to make you sound old, but was it with Freddie or Adam or
No, it's with Freddie.
Wow. I'm jealous.
Now I'm getting invites to go see them because I missed it last year for all the Oscar stuff because I was just busy doing stuff. And then I've seen and known Adam since American Idol days. So I'm so proud of where it's come from. So yes, Sherry and Terri, this will come about eventually based on how everything's going. I'm working on it right now. And the reason why I say that, Rocky, because the documentary with Adam is actually really good.
Mm-hmm.
So Rocky, when I was watching several of your videos, my favorite song is Whiskey A Go-Go that you do. You said that you were inspired or influenced by Kiss, or were there other bands that inspired you to want to go into this avenue of entertainment?
It definitely started with Kiss, and I was a big Beatles fan when I was a little boy. Also Pink Floyd. So that it was a lot of British bands. I realized today that I had a big British influence, and I'm from Norway, if anybody's wondering. So I was fairly close to England, but not actually living there. Pink Floyd, definitely, the Beatles, Led Zeppelin also, and just anything that was done before I was born, probably. I wasn't into. I guess I grew up in the 90s and I didn't really like 90s music. I don't know about you guys, but I just thought it was kind of a low point. Even to this day, I think it was just kind of, people were confused after the 80s. Because I think the 80s to me was like the highlight of music and entertainment in many ways. The 90s was some sort of, they're trying to compensate by doing something that was very different. And I'm not sure if I liked it.
Well, grunge was very depressing. Because the whole era was depressing. I mean, I'm a big fan of 80s music. I used to, I don't want to date myself, but hang out at the Whiskey A Go-Go and the Troubadour and all those places on Sunset Strip. And I had friends that were in bands. And so I grew up with that and I love it. I miss it. I miss those days.
Yeah.
Rocky, do you think that because of your music that we're hearing, do you think we're going back to kind of like a classic rock, like Kiss, AC/DC sounds? Do you think we're headed that way again?
I've seen that there is a trend that is, I think the 80s are becoming trendy again. Even like Wonder Woman, which is now, it keeps getting, they keep changing the release date. 1984, they're pushing the 80s music, but it's 80s done today. So it's got sort of a little bit of a modern twist to it. And I think that's good. I think that a lot of great music was done back then and people still appreciate that to this day. AC/DC, you can say in one sense, it's very simple. Every album sounds the same. but they have a recipe that just works. And if you go to an AC/DC concert, which I've been to, it's a great show. I think it's very enjoyable, and I think a lot of people enjoy it. It's very, very, it has a great commercial aspect to it. And I think that people don't forget that. There are a lot of trends and fads that, come and go, but AC/DC has been around for like 40 years, just like
and
Kiss.
it's still going.
Still going.
You know what? Yeah, I saw them. I've seen AC/DC probably about 4 or 5 times in my lifetime, and it's never been a disappointment. But I did want to add something about, you're talking about the movies that are coming out from the 80s. But they just redid Valley Girl, so that's introducing people again back to 80s music.
Did you audition for it, Terri?
I'm sorry?
Did you audition for it?
No, I can't sing. That's one gift I don't have.
You're a Valley girl.
Yeah, I did grow up in the Valley. Yeah, I did.
I think you'd have a great voice.
No, no. It's one thing that I do not have a gift for, and I'm actually very jealous of people that can sing. It's a God-given talent that I was not blessed with, but and it always impresses me of anybody with a good voice.
No, but if you get a chance to see Rocky, you are a showman on stage. Like, you're a master with the guitar, but yeah, you mix up. I wouldn't call it glam rock because you don't wear the makeup, but you do bring back that stage presence, and obviously you've got a wonderful sound. But yeah, I think anyone who wants to see a good, refreshing it's you. You're very good.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, I was, again, influenced by Kiss, and their energy on stage was really important to me. I wanted to capture that. I also didn't want to look like I just got off the street or just got out of bed. I try to look nice and dress nice and put on a good show, because people don't want to see some stranger who doesn't want to be there. When you're on stage, you have to perform. It's important.
Rocky, talk about when you first came to the U.S. When you first got to Los Angeles, where was the first place you wanted to go?
Ooh, the first place. So when I came here in September of 2011, and I actually didn't know that much about LA. I knew it's Hollywood. I knew it's palm trees and same temperature all year, pretty much. I remember. And I actually went to an English school, and the school had a little trip on the second day I was here, or at least close to that, where we went to Hollywood. We went to the Griffith Observatory. We looked at the Hollywood sign and all that. We did the whole Hollywood thing. I think we may have gone to Santa Monica. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, we did. We went through all the the famous LA sites. And that was cool. But I think that me personally, there were a few places that I wanted to see in LA that influenced me. Some of them were like Whiskey A Go Go and some of the other venues. But I wanted to see a studio called 1-on-1, and that is actually where we ended up recording. And that's where Metallica recorded the Black Album. So it's a very historic studio. It was one of the few studios I knew about. And, a few years later, all of a sudden I was there recording. It was very cool.
That's cool.
It's really cool.
You mentioned AC/DC. That's the loudest concert I've ever attended. I'm surprised I'm not deaf and blind. But I loved the concert because I was in 8th row center, obviously, and I was the only black guy out of 20,000 people because I was looking. But I enjoyed myself because this is the Back in Black tour. And I was like, well, this is a record for me. I had no idea. I just knew it was going to be loud, but I didn't know it was going to be that loud.
I don't know. Motley Crue is pretty loud. that's another one of my favorite bands. So I don't know if you've seen Motley Crue, Brian, in concert.
I haven't seen Motley Crue. I've seen Metallica. They're supposed to be very loud, but I was in the mosh pit, and it's actually the perfect level if you're in the mosh pit. But if you're on the sides, it's very loud. It's extremely loud, apparently.
I just can't wait till we can go to concerts again. It's when COVID's over. It's just so weird not to be able to see live music right now. It's killing me.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
Yes, it's a total bummer.
Rocky, you've got a really good video about making of the album Firestorm. And was it David Staten that was because you said you were influenced by Pink Floyd. He has a Pink Floyd connection, was that right? That got you into that Metallica studio?
Well, it's a little more complicated. When I came here, I was living with an old lady named Sonia, and when she when we were getting to know each other, she was asking me why I was going to an English school because like you don't need to learn English, and I said, well, I'm really here to become a musician. So she actually wanted to help me out. So one of her friends knew David Stanton, who is a conductor in Palos Verdes. He got in touch with Mike Pinera, who was the guitar player for Alice Cooper and Iron Butterfly, Blues Image. And I did some work with him. We went to the Village, which is a famous studio in Santa Monica. And like Supertramp recorded there. We actually were in the same studio as Supertramp. And Mike introduced me to Kim Richards. Kim Richards, he brought in the first rock act to record at 101 at that studio that I recorded at. And so it was actually more of a scoring stage before that. So it was really done for movies. So it has a very big room. And for anyone who likes drums, it just made sense to record drums in there because you get an actual real acoustics. Because most studios are not really meant for drums, and they're kind of dead. There's no real acoustics in there, so they actually were like taking advantage of the room sound. So if you listen to the Black album, you'll hear some really spectacular drums. So it's a wonderful studio, and unfortunately, there was a fire close to it, and it's not open right now. But I'm sure it'll reopen soon, hopefully.
Rocky, when do you think you can get your guys together and just kind of rehearse a strange way, whether it's out in a parking lot or something like that? I know you guys just want to get together, and the reason why I'm saying this stuff because I'm actually getting a lot of my friends' bands together. I said, go out into the pasture, use someone's farm, get out there and have people, Vimeo, people, they will pay you guys to see you rehearse because people are, Terri, is a perfect example. They want to see something. Something is better than nothing.
Yep.
When do you guys think you can just get together and even rehearse?
I would love to. I would love to do something. We haven't played together probably since the end of last year, because we didn't know this was going to happen. We were getting ready to film a music video, and that's what we were planning. So we weren't actually rehearsing yet. And then this happened. So we've been kind of looking at things. We've done a few little things. We communicate, but it's we're just kind of respecting the situation and trying not to spend too much time together. And we like to rehearse in a rehearsal studio. So. But I like the idea of going somewhere, do something that's unconventional, kind of like the Beatles playing on top of a building.
Absolutely.
Something like that would be cool. I'm always into doing something that hasn't been done before, but it's hard when it's 2020 and kind of everybody's thought about the same idea like at least 3-4 times, and everything's been done, millions of times. So it's just about figuring out something that makes sense for all of us and just trying to stay safe,
What do you think if you're allowed to go back, even if it's mid-21, where's the first place you guys would like to go and tour, and why?
Well, we started our tour in the UK, or technically we actually played some shows here in the US first. So we did cover the UK at the end of last year, and we had a great time. We didn't really get to play any other parts of Europe. So I would love to do that. I would love to play in Germany. Germany, they love like my type of music. So that's really, that's a market we definitely want to explore. We didn't really get to play the US. We were supposed to play the US this summer, like right now, and we're not. So we have to make up for that next year. We had like a nice tour that we're looking at, and with some big bands too. So it would have been a great opportunity, but didn't work out because of this nightmare.
Well, I'm going to say it. That sucks. I would have loved to have seen that.
Yeah. And also South America. I would love to play South America because they go crazy. They love music, and that's fun. It's a fun place to be.
Where do you think where is your favorite place to play, or what country you think all time? Yeah.
I mean, I haven't played that many different countries, but I think that it's nice to play for any audience that appreciates what you do, even if they're not there for you. because that's something that, you know, we've done a lot of different things, and sometimes we play for people that are more interested in getting drunk, and then other times we play for people that just they love they recognize my influences, or they just appreciate the music, and that's always fun, because it's one of those things like they're either going to know who Yngwie Malmsteen is, or they're going to just say, well, you don't sound like Bryan Adams, so I'm not into what you do. So it's just a matter of finding the right people. And I think that when we played in England, they were very appreciative of what we were doing. So that's really encouraging. And definitely want to explore more of that in other parts of Europe, and obviously the U.S. The U.S. is a big market, so there's a lot of places to play. Canada would be fun too, and obviously Japan would be awesome. And we were actually talking about going to China, but that also obviously didn't happen.
Yeah.
So.
I was in Vietnam a few months ago, and it's amazing in those Asian countries where anything goes. Like Vietnam, I didn't realize was one of those places that is known for laser lights and neon lighting. And so we did a dinner cruise, and it was quite amazing where if you could do a video or, you know, a concert out there, it's not a place of regulations, rules, and things like that. There's much more freedom that I think, yeah, you could really do some fun shows over there. So let us know.
Yes. Well, me and Sherry will get on a plane and come see you.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
Girls in the background. But I'm just learning about guitar from some of our guests. So Rocky, with the talent that you have, do you have a preferred guitar? Like, I know I saw you over, and Brian takes his show over to NAMM, but I saw you speaking to some people with Gibson and things. I was curious, do you have like a particular guitar you prefer?
I do. I play and endorse Fender guitars. I primarily like the Stratocaster, and that's the one I play the most. I have one right next to me. It looks like this, and it's so what's great about it is that not only the history, it's got just some incredible guitar players that are known to play the Strat, including Jimi Hendrix, David Gilmour, Yngwie Malmsteen, who's one of my influences, and just a lot of people, and in a lot of different genres too. It's not just you have to play this, which was kind of my impression of it originally. I thought it was like you have to play a certain type of music to play it. Then I realized that you can really do anything with it. It's very customizable, and which is what I did, because I wanted to have more of a rock and roll sound. And it's just a really great guitar, and I think it's a great guitar for pretty much anyone who wants to learn how to play. It's a good like for starter guitar, which I've noticed that if you look at a lot of the like the starter kits that come with like a electric guitar and an amp, it's usually some sort of a Strat looking guitar with some amp. So I think it's just a wonderful instrument. I play a Telecaster. I have a few other guitars, but the Telecaster is good too. It's just a little different. It's nice getting different sounds.
How old were you when you first picked up a guitar?
My first experience with a guitar was when I was 8, and I'd already played violin for a couple of years. But when I picked it up at 8, I played maybe for a few minutes, and it just wasn't doing it for me. There was no magic. So I came back when I was 11, and I said, you know what? I'm going to learn how to play this thing. And I did. I just played every day. I didn't even have a guitar. I was borrowing my brother's acoustic guitar, and it was kind of like a slightly smaller guitar. So it's nice because I wasn't an adult. I was just a little boy. So it was nice to be able to play a slightly smaller guitar and learn how to. I learned every chord, everything I could, and eventually I bought my own guitar when I was 13.
Are you able to play us something quick, like, because you're fast on there? It's good. Are you allowed?
I don't have any sound. I don't have any. There's no.
Oh, okay.
There's no sound coming out of it.
No, but yeah, when they were showing you on like I like the Whiskey Go-Go. We were playing it last night quite a bit. No, when they had the camera panning up on you, you were going so fast. It was good.
If you want to see me play guitar, I do a Twitch show every Tuesday night. It's called Rock and Roll Tuesdays. It's just me playing guitar and singing and so on. So that's something for anyone who wants to see me play live, then that's pretty much the only alternative right now.
Okay, no, that's great.
Hey, Rocky, if you had the choice and they said yes, what band would you like to open for?
Open for? That's a good question. I would say if I could pick the biggest band, it would probably be either like Queen or Metallica. That would be a big audience. If I had to pick someone that I think might be a better pick for someone that might be my fans, I would probably pick Dream Theater or Yngwie Malmsteen. They don't have it as big enough. Their crowds aren't as big, but they would probably appreciate what I do, and that's important too. So I would probably gain some fans from that. I don't know if I don't think Pink Floyd is touring anymore, but maybe like a Pink Floyd tribute band or something. If they have a big enough audience, there are some really big Pink Floyd tribute bands. I'm telling you, people love Pink Floyd, so
Yes.
I think they would appreciate my music because I was definitely influenced by them. So
When you think back to your home country, isn't it nice to go away and then come back and be looked at like, wow, this is where I grew up. I would have never have thought I would be able to play for my fellow countrymen. What's that like?
it's very interesting when you go to other countries. It's like, because I see a lot of people from the U.S. that they've never been outside the U.S. and I don't know if anyone. I know Sherry said Vietnam, and I can imagine that people do go to Europe or they might go to other parts of the world. But it's when you grow up in Norway, it's definitely different than the U.S. But there are a lot of similarities. And going back there, I appreciate it because there's things about Norway that I really enjoy. And I've had some press there because of being here, like, so that I'm not going to say I'm definitely not like famous or anything, but I'm just, I've been in the newspapers several times. They keep wanting to do interviews with me. So, and that's fun because I always get messages from friends or people that I haven't talked to in a while. They're like, I saw you in the newspaper. You were on the front cover. Yep, I was. It's kind of crazy.
Isn't that a great feeling though? Let me ask you this. When you were in high school, did you ever get picked on because you were into music, you were starting to learn how to play? And the reason I asked that, because usually those people who picked on you wanted to go join your band later and they felt guilty that they probably picked on you.
Right.
Thinking of Alice Cooper, believe it or not.
Yeah. I love Alice Cooper, by the way. So I wouldn't say I was so much picked on, but there were some people that maybe tried, but I'm a peaceful person. I don't generally pick fights with people. And generally people would find it interesting when you play guitar. And I remember in 10th grade, which at least in our system, it's last year of middle school or junior high, whatever you call it. And I remember we had to take guitar lessons, and guess who knows how to play guitar? So yeah. I was basically like a substitute teacher, and unfortunately our actual music teacher was going through cancer at the time. So we had to have a substitute teacher, and the substitute teacher was like, wait a second, you play guitar? So I was just kind of becoming one of the teachers at the school because they needed somebody to not only tune guitars, but to teach guitar. And I think it helped at least some of us kind of bond, because a lot of people do want to play guitar and they just don't know where to start. And some people are kind of anxious about it and they don't know what to do. But I try to help people in any way I could. It's obvious that some people have talent and some people don't have talent. So you just have to be, I guess, appreciative of the people that do know how to play. And if they don't know, then hey, you can always play the cowbell. Triangle.
Me and Terri will be here. We need more cowbell.
That's right.
Backup dancers with the cowbell. Yep.
Oh yes.
No, Rocky, we had Kenny Olson on a few weeks ago, and I remember he had mentioned that some of his best guitar solos, he doesn't even remember playing them because he got so lost in the solo of it. Have you got one of your songs or a song that you've played that you just lose yourself when you're doing the guitar of it?
Honestly, I think that's always the case. I think that when I perform, I become a different person. It's a different Rocky. I'm not a person anymore. I'm a guitarist. I'm maybe especially if I'm on stage, but I've noticed that when I record guitar, especially guitar solos, I've realized that the best way to do it is by not necessarily being prepared, is just improvising them, because it brings out music and melodies that I never would have thought of on my own. If I sat there with a pen and paper or in front of my computer trying to write the notes, I just wouldn't come up with some of the things that I've done just by hitting record and just play and just be in the zone. So that's maybe one of the things I enjoy the most, is listening to something I've done and just think, how did I do that? Because I have no idea. But it just comes out of me. It's really fun. It's really maybe the best part about being a guitarist.
Yeah,
or
no,
musician.
that's a gift, and it's just instincts, and you're like, wow, I have good instinct.
Yes.
You know, Rocky, it would be very interesting. This is Movie Reviews and we're all more. What I've been liking the last couple of years has been rock picks, biopics. This is the end thing now. It would be very interesting to see how your band formed and everything like that. That would be very interesting to see a documentary on you guys. What's your feeling on that?
If you want to see a documentary, there is a documentary, and it's, I guess the easiest way to watch it is to either go to my website or go to my YouTube. It starts out with one that's called Calm Before the Firestorm. And Firestorm is the name of my album. So Calm Before the Firestorm is play on words. And it does give you sort of an insight of what it was like. It's not as it doesn't have the cinematic values of like the Motley Crue, the Dirt movie, or some of the other ones that have been coming out recently. And I enjoy those movies, by the way. I think it's great to watch something about rock and roll. The Elton John movie was pretty good, Rocket Man. And so I love movies, and I definitely want to be a part of movies. Allard Artist is a movie company, so there's definitely a lot of potential there in the future. And we want to kind of bridge the gap between my music and movies, and try to create maybe a movie out of the music, so that you're kind of getting a visual experience along with the music. Because I think a lot of people can get into that, kind of like they did with Pink Floyd and The Wall. Like a lot of people say, oh, that's a great movie when you say The Wall. And it's like, well, it was an album, and obviously once the movie's out, a lot of people associate it with a movie, but it's definitely both an album and a movie. And that's something that I take inspiration from. I think that I love movies, and I love the visual media. So I just think that would love to do that. Yeah.
Rocky, I saw that one, and how did everything get started? That lady, the older lady in that video, is that the lady that you first moved in with when you moved to Los Angeles? Because I see her on your stage sometimes too.
Yes, she's the one. Sonia.
Oh, she is.
Yes.
No, because when I was watching that biography, I'm like, I think that's that lady who was on the stage, Seth.
Yeah. That's it.
Rocky's interesting. I'm the drummer, but when I'm by myself in the house, when I'm by myself, I pretend I'm the bass player when I'm listening to all rock and rolls. So in my mind, and I've told Gene Simmons this a couple of times, I'm Gene Simmons playing on everybody's album bass, pretending. So if I had a camera in here, you would see me minus the long hair, just jumping up and down and just playing my rock and roll loud. And I mean loud. I get a blast out of it, and then I just calm down. I'm like, okay, back to work.
Love it.
So we all have those moments when we will all wish we played in a band, right?
Mm-hmm.
Huh, Sherry?
No.
Well, I just had my go-go dancing days, so that's about it.
Hey, Rocky,
So Rocky,
website.
you also write your music as well, don't you?
I do. I write a lot of music. That's kind of why I wanted to be in the music industry. It wasn't so much about the guitar, because the guitar is something I do just out of enjoyment. It's just something I enjoy no matter what. But as a songwriter, there's a little more like, I have to put this out. I want people to hear it. And so that's kind of like where so I got one album out, and we're going to be putting out another one at some point. I don't know exactly because of what's going on right now, but we want to be in the studio, especially since we can't go on tour. It makes more sense to be in the studio. I see a lot of artists now kind of heading back in the studio, and I think that's probably the best thing to do right now, because you know, there's nothing wrong with more music.
No,
Yeah.
and I'm sure you could probably figure out a way to social distance and still play. I don't know. I mean, you just have to be 6 feet apart, right?
Yeah. I mean, you can do it with masks and so on. I mean,
Yeah.
should be fine.
You know, if there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
Has this kind of house arrest that we're on, has that created any certain types of music writing for you? Have you, like made you write some angry songs? Like any type, has it inspired you to write in a different pattern than before, or are you just triggered by certain things to write music?
I think that, like, I always write about what's going on, in my life or maybe in the world in general. So definitely what's been going on, it kind of does make me think about how to maybe, think about my music in a different way. I've been kind of more focusing on making covers, because I wanted to do something that I could put out more frequently while this is going on. And I have already written like more than 10 albums. So I kind of wanted to do something that I could do that is more like, okay, I'm going to make this and then put it out. And what I've been doing is to kind of taking the songs that I love and kind of as a songwriter say, what can I do with this song to make it more like my music or more like something that I want it to sound like. And I think that's kind of it's a different exercise for me, because I generally don't do covers. I've always been all about original music, and I've written so many songs over the years. I mean, hundreds of songs, and they've always been about what's going on. And sometimes it's like, okay, what's going on in other people's lives? And that's something that I think this whole pandemic has like really taught us, that maybe your small problems are, they're so insignificant compared to what is really like the big problems out there. So just, respecting other people's worth and time and value in a different way than before. And that's definitely, it definitely changes how you think when you write music too, for sure.
Yeah.
So for Rocky, for those audience members who may not have heard of you and your band, what would you say to get them to come and listen to your CD or go on your website or watch a little documentary that you have there? What would you say to them?
I would say if you're into music that was popular in the 70s and 80s, maybe primarily, and you like Pink Floyd, you like guitar solos, you like things that are maybe enigmatic in a sense, but in another way it has maybe somewhat of a familiar feel, but even though you haven't heard it before, in a sense. A lot of people say that about my music. It's like it feels familiar, but it's not. You know what I mean? So it's just if you like, I'm trying to think of other things that's important. I was influenced by classical music, so if you like hearing a classical influence when you listen to rock and roll, then you should definitely check me out.
Good to know. Give your social media links, please.
Social media is usually Rocky Kramer in one word. That's Rocky with a Y, Kramer with a K. Except Facebook, it's Rocky Kramer Official. And my website is rockykramer.com. Easy.
And Sherry Nelson.
Facebook, Sherry Nelson. Social media, Instagram, Twitter, XOXO, Sherry XO.
And Terri.
My official website is Terri Marie Official, and then my handle on social media is Terri Marie Nonstop.
And Rocky, what a pleasure to talk to you. I have been paying attention, and I did know who you were because I scope out certain people on certain things. I'm like, okay, I wonder what's going to happen with this band. This person seems kind of interesting. So I wasn't surprised when you started to come up all of a sudden. And congratulations. And I
Thank you.
was supposed to 2 years ago go to Norway, and then things got changed around. I wanted to hit Norway, Denmark, and Sweden, and I still got to get over there. So that whatever happens, that's like my next 3 trips. I don't know when that's going to happen. You know.
It's like a fairy tale to be there. It's maybe one of the countries that are the most beautiful from a natural standpoint, because there's a lot of mountains and a lot of animals. It's very the colors are very vivid. It's like when you watch a Hollywood movie and everything is very vivid. Then you go to Hollywood and everything is washed out and gray and and dirty. But Norway really looks like that. It's really like that. It's beautiful.
Right. So for Rocky Kramer, Sherry Nelson, Terri Marie, I'm Brian Sebastian. This is Movie Reviews and More, the Women's Broadcast Team Network. ITube T47 out of Franklin, Tennessee. And if you see someone without a smile, please give them one of yours because the world needs it. We will see you next week.